Talking of holidays, how much have you travelled around the fair isle we call the UK? Well, it seems millions of Brits have barely travelled further than the end of their road. Astonishingly, almost 5 million southerners have never been north of the Watford Gap, whilst 2.3 million northerners have never ventured south. So, Carol, you're a globetrotter.
I am.
How often do you just venture further outside the M25 than normal?
Well, believe it or not, I do go on a lot of holidays and I do like to go abroad and
Really?
I do like to fly. But, I have seen most of this country and I have been almost everywhere. There's, if you can just name a city or a town, I've probably been there because years and years ago, I went on a big, long road trip in an old, Mark II Jaguar and just drove for weeks, just all around the UK, to Wales, to Scotland, to Derbyshire, Yorkshire...
Newcastle?
The Lake District. No. No, but I have been there. I have been there, though, but not for any amount of time. But I have seen the UK. And
Blackpool?
I have, actually, yeah. I've got a picture of me, by the trams and near the donkeys and everything.
Oh,
I didn't stay there very long, I have to say. We were only there for a few hours.
Why did you frighten the donkeys?
No, we couldn't find anywhere to eat because everywhere was closed at 7 p.m.
No, it's not.
Well, it was then. It was quite a long time ago.
You've been to Scotland, haven't you?
I have. I've spent a lot of time in Scotland. I've seen the whole of Scotland, and I have to say it really is one of the most beautiful places in the world. It is well worth going to, and I think all those people who have not travelled north or south and think, just because where they live, that's the best place, they should be ashamed of themselves because it's not difficult. I know it's expensive. It is really expensive to travel around the UK
Well, it's
now,
expensive to holiday in this country.
It is. Unfortunately, it is. That's why I don't do it.
Denise, what about you? Would you say you're well-travelled domestically?
Yeah, I think I'm reasonably well-travelled domestically. I mean, my mum and dad, we used to put the old Sprite Alpine caravan on the back of the car and go off on 20-hour journeys to Cornwall or whatever it took in those days. But we also used to go to France and Spain. But I think I would love to see more of Scotland and Ireland. I would like to see more of Scotland and Ireland. But it is, with a family, it is expensive to holiday in this country, especially when you don't know if you're going to get the weather. So trying to keep kids occupied in this country, it costs an absolute blooming fortune, like everything in this country does. But there's nowhere, to me, England in the summer, there's nowhere more beautiful than England in the summer.
Scotland.
It's just, well, England. But,
Ireland.
But we don't...
Or Wales.
But we don't get the weather. I mean, look at last summer, But I do get cross with people who say, we know this farmer from the northeast, and lovely chap as he is. We live where our house is 12 miles from Newcastle. And you go, have you been to Newcastle much then? He goes, don't need to go, don't want to go. Don't want to go, don't need to go. And that's all he says.
12 miles away.
It's 12 miles away. He went as a child, and that's the farthest, he just never goes anywhere.
But I actually...
Nowhere.
When there used to be this big debate about the north and south debate thing, and I used to think, oh, it's a load of rubbish, that. But actually, there really is, I think. I think a lot of
north-south divide.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people in the north go, oh, what do I want to go down south for? They're all snobby down there, think they're better than us, blah, blah, blah. And then down south they go, well, what do I want to go up north for? They're all
well, they still have a cloth cap and whip
No,
idea of the northeast, and it's a fantastic
There is.
place.
I've met people that are like that.
I do think that there is a bit of a grudge. There's a grudge match going on between the north and the south, and I think it's been exacerbated by this government, unfortunately. But I do think that when
the government,
unfortunately, it has though. But I do think the people in the south, when they joke about, when Jane McDonald's on the show, I do joke with her that, do they have cars up north and things like that? But it's a joke.
I do think you do have a little northern thing. You have to get jabs when you go to Manchester.
I'm going to Manchester this weekend, actually.
But
I do get around.
It goes both ways. I mean, there are people, I know people in Scotland who've never been to London, never been to the capital, but equally know southerners who've never been to Edinburgh. Yeah. So it goes both. But, I mean, for me, we were talking about this the other night, David and I, saying, oh, we've got a 2-year-old. What do you want your children to grow up to be like? And I said, the most important thing to me is that they are adventurous and see the world. So I really want to encourage them to travel as kids, which you grew up on the road.
Absolutely. Oh, I've been around Jackie Brambles.
We know that.
Around and back a few times. Yeah, but I agree with you with the kids. I mean, I know with Shane Jr. now being 19, and he was asked to go to America last year, and at first he was like, oh, it's such a long way. And I said, look, I don't care if you go, give it 2 weeks. And then if you say to Mum, I can't stand it, I want to come home, that's fine. But please just go and try. It's such a beautiful big world out there. I think for kids it's really important.
I don't know
to
how
see it.
people can be happy to die without having been out of this country. I
Well,
just really don't
unfortunately-
understand it.
Yeah, but Denise, some people are. You know, my mum never wanted to go anywhere, ever. Ever. You know, she just loved being at home, and that was it. She never wanted to travel, and she never did. But, you know, you think it's always the best thing to do, but a lot of people don't want to do it.
I suppose it's generational too, just in that it's only been quite a recent phenomenon, hasn't it, in the last, what, 10, 15 years, that flights became so cheap that you could easily venture abroad cheaper than you could have a holiday, you know, with your kids in Blackpool for 2 weeks or whatever.
There's travel and travel. I mean, I love to travel and I envy the amount you travel. But even I couldn't do Bangkok for a weekend like Carol does. Just Bangkok for a weekend, Friday to Monday.
It's easy. It's really easy.
And then you don't remember it when you come
You're
back.
right. Doesn't know where she's been.